Hey guys, so I have been meaning to make this video, and I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to recap our school year now that the school year is over. So this was a different kind of a school year for us because of my pregnancy, and then we had a baby, toward the end of the school year, and so I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Somehow, we finished this school year, we actually completed everything that I wanted to complete. Kind of. We did lose a couple subjects halfway through the year, but we finished more subjects than we have ever finished on time before in another school year. So I'm not sure how that happened. I can't give you advice there, but that's what happened. So I'm pretty happy about the way the school year went. So I am looking at my video, my curriculum choices video from the fall. And I'm just going to go through all of the different resources that I mentioned. So first up on there is the scripture cards from Simply Charlotte Mason. We did alternate those with the hymn study. I was not going to have my kids memorize the scripture and memorize the hymns. So every so often we would do scripture cards, and then every so often we would do hymn study. So we did use those. The Picture Smart Bible was what we used for our Bible curriculum, and I still love that curriculum. It might be competing with Story of the World as my favorite that we use in our homeschool. I'm probably going to review it again for you guys this summer just because I feel like we have finally hit our stride as far as Bible curriculum goes. So we did the overview of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel. So that's 11 different chapters that we got through. We could have done more, but we didn't really get super consistent with it until after Christmas time. So considering when we really started doing it well, we got pretty far. And so this upcoming school year, my guess would be that we'll get about 25 other books of the Bible in there. Start Right, we still use for handwriting, but that is going to change this upcoming school year. Oh, Miss Annabeth just woke up, so we'll see if we're able to finish this video. So what I just did Start Right. I would type out their address or type out their, memory verses or their hymns or just letters, and so we use Start Right still all the way through this school year. This is our 4th year using it. We did not do much of the Simply Charlotte Mason art study. We did Van Gogh this year, and I intended to switch halfway through and use another one, but because the first semester I wasn't very consistent, I just felt like the point of doing the picture study portfolio is that you hang one up and you kind of talk about it every day, and then the next week you switch to the next one. And because the first semester I had morning sickness and I wasn't very consistent with it, I never wanted to move on because I felt like they weren't getting to do Van Gogh, very well. And so the second semester we kind of restarted from the beginning, and so we just did Van Gogh that whole second semester. So I kind of would just say scrap the first semester, and the second semester is when we started to get consistent. So this upcoming school year, we'll now move on to a different artist. Geography, we did love using the Simply Charlotte Mason visits to Europe. We used the map drills that go along with it, and then we used Hungry Planet and Material World for the supplements, that go along with the curriculum. We got about halfway through that curriculum as well. A lot of it has to do with or not a lot of it, but you do cook the foods and things like that. So again, that was another thing that we kind of stalled out through the first semester and really picked up on in the second semester. So supplements for geography. Okay, I see. Okay. Story of the World. We started Story of the World at about the halfway, or maybe the 2/3 of the way through. I think we started at chapter 25 in Ancient Civilizations, and then we are doing this with friends, so we did about a chapter a week or so consistently. They had a baby in November and we had a baby in March, so we did take some time there. Now we are on chapter 15 of Medieval, so I'm not exactly sure how many chapters we got through, but we did love that again this year, and I'm very happy with how much my kids picked up on, what they remembered. At the end of the school year, we did a living history museum for the dads, and each of the kids picked a chapter that was their favorite. They dressed like a character from that chapter and did a presentation, and then like with a display board, and also cooked the meal that went along with that chapter. And my son Jesse did ancient Rome, and then he was Julius Caesar, and my goodness, what he remembered. I was so impressed with his little demonstration. I'll put in, well, it's like 5 minutes long. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it in at the end because that's probably what I'm most proud of my kids for this school year, was how much they did with history. So I'll probably stick that in at the end, or maybe I'll just add a link. That's what I'll do. I'll add a link below to their demonstrations if you want to see those, their little living history demonstrations. So he did Julius Caesar, and then he did this Roman road project that I found on Pinterest, or my friend found on Pinterest. And then my daughter picked our chapter on monks and monasteries. That was from the medieval book, and she dressed like a monk. She loved how much they read and how they produced the books and how long it took them to make the paper and the books and the ink and the illuminations. And so then she did lentil soup and all sorts of little cheese and bread and all that kind of stuff. So we really, really, really loved Story of the World, and we were very consistent with that regardless of how sick I was. That was one that was very easy to complete because I just had to read to them. So no matter how sick I was feeling, I just read to them. Science was Apologias, Chemistry, and Physics. If you follow me on Instagram, then about in December, I just totally scrapped it. I couldn't, we love Apologia. We've used Apologia since the beginning of our homeschool. I could not get going with chemistry and physics. I don't know if it's just that it wasn't happening. It was way above where they were able to understand. I don't know how I passed it in college. I have no idea. I think that was the class I got like a C in college. So Spanish, we never picked up on. We never got going with Spanish. I will say, okay, so then art, we did home art studio. The kids loved it. It was just crafting basically, and they really loved that one. I'm going to purchase the next level up for this upcoming school year, but I found another art curriculum that I'm very excited about, and I'm going to be sharing that with you guys soon. Nature study, that was what we ended up using as our science because we scrapped Apologia. So nature study, we used Charlotte Mason's Nature Journal, the Simply Charlotte Mason Nature Journal, and it has some prompts at the top, so I was able to just turn to a page and tell my kids to do that. This upcoming school year, I would really like to get a little better with the nature study and be more involved with them instead of just having them, sending them out to do it. I would like to go out with them and enjoy that along with them. We didn't end up doing handicrafts. Okay, reading. Jesse finished All About Reading, level 1. I'm very, very proud of him. Something finally clicked about in February, and he just went with it. And, I would say we'd only really gotten through like a third of the curriculum by February. But then after the light bulb finally went off, he just flew, and he finished that. I was very proud of him. Isabella this year was just reading chapter books, and January 1st, I started counting how many books she read, and by our last day of school, she had completed 30 chapter books, and now because of summer, she's at like 42. It's insane, and she is really able to comprehend what she's reading, because I'm like, surely you're not. I don't know why I had such a hard time believing that she was reading these books so quickly, but she's completely understanding what's going on in the books. And then for math, Jesse completed his Horizons math, and Isabella completed her teaching textbooks math. I love our little system for math, so I don't see any problems there in the future. So that is kind of like how our school year went as far as completing our subjects. Now, the mood of our school year was very thrown off because, like I said, I had a lot of morning sickness at the beginning. We never really got going. I was very worried we weren't going to finish this year, and then toward the end of my pregnancy, and then right at the beginning with Annabeth being born, we just completed so much more than I ever expected. I'm not sure what really changed, but we flew. And I was having a hard time actually at the end of our school year officially finishing, because I was just like, we finally hit our stride. I just want to keep going. Everything had gotten so consistent and I was so pleased with it. But I did decide they needed a summer, so we ended up stopping because they had finished everything. But one thing that I want to say is that as a homeschool parent, sometimes we have to, okay, so I was just saying, as a homeschool parent, we don't always have somebody, excuse me, living our day-to-day lives with us and encouraging us. And so sometimes you just have to encourage yourself. So I want you, if you're watching this, to think about 3 things that you are proud of yourself for completing the school year, and leave them in the comments below. So I'm going to tell you what 3 things I am going to count as our successes beyond curriculum, because curriculum, you know, sometimes it's out of your control whether you're going to finish in a school year or not, because you're trying to go at the pace of your kids, and you can't force them to rush it if they're not ready yet, or if they're struggling with something. Knowing when to slow down and do curriculum, and you know, slow down the curriculum and enjoy the process of learning and helping them along instead of rushing them, that is a success in itself. So you might not complete the book, but you are able to minister to your child's heart while they're learning. So don't ever knock yourself if you don't finish a curriculum in a school year. So outside of curriculum, what 3 things are you proud of for completing the school year? What 3 things do you count as your successes? Annie. Annabeth really wanted to be heard in this video. She really wanted to be heard. You got something to say? Did you learn much this school year? Did you learn much this school year? Yeah. Okay, sorry, I had to nurse the baby. So what was I saying? Yes. 3 things that you are very pleased with yourself, proud of yourself, your homeschool, how the year went. So first of all, for me, is that we made consistent trips to the library. And that might not seem like a big deal, but for me, that was a big deal. We're usually a very busy, fast-paced family. I've never made the time to get to the library. Thankfully, I did have such horrible morning sickness at the beginning of my pregnancy that a lot of days I would just take them to the library and they would just read all day, and I would read to them, and that was the majority of our schooling. And it became something that we as a family enjoyed so much, and now we have made consistent weekly trips to the library. Bonus, I have not had very many library fees, so I'm extra proud of myself for that. But yeah, so we've gone to the library on a consistent basis and just really enjoyed reading together, and that's something new, and that's something that I'm happy about, because it was not, we didn't have a very good family culture with books, I think is what I'm trying to, books were not a part of our family culture, I guess, is what I mean. So I'm very happy about that. Okay, the second thing that I'm proud of myself for the school year is that I have really worked hard to slow down the pace and just relax, rest, enjoy the time with the kids. That means that my house has gotten messier. That's okay. I'm trying to be okay with it. I'm not totally okay with it, but I'm learning to be okay with it. And to just invest more of my heart in my kids in our school day, rather than being so on edge. And my personality is just so like go, 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 and I'm always wanting a clean house, and I want structure and order, and learning to slow down and relax has actually, it's actually really given us a great balance in our house, and we've gotten more of our schoolwork completed than the way that I was doing things before, which was so ordered, and you would think so orderly, and you would think that that would help complete school, but it was actually the opposite. It was just too rigid, and we were falling behind because I had too much going on to let us enjoy our learning. And when the kids are enjoying the learning, and when you're enjoying the learning, a lot more learning happens. So I'm happy that I learned to do that, and to advocate for myself, and to say no, and say, I'm sorry, I can't go to lunch today. I'm sorry, I can't do this today. I can't do that today. I have to, you know, grocery shop on a different day, and just learning to kind of stick up for myself in that sense. That's helped bring a sense of peace to our homeschool that I've been longing for years, and I'm very happy that we've gotten there this year. And then the last thing what was the last thing I had? I know I had one more thing. What's the last thing, Annabeth? Mommy's got mommy brain. Oh, yes. So the last thing was starting our day off on the right foot. This year, I've never really had a good start time. I've always been very all over the road with starting. Be like, sometimes we wake up 8:30, start, and then sometimes it's like, oh, we're a really lazy approach, and we don't start school till like 10:30, 11, and when that happens, you know, it's just not going to happen. So this year we did have a very solid morning routine as far as school goes, with our clipboards and getting all that done. And that really fed into a great school day because we had like a very consistent structure to the beginning of our day. And I'm very happy about that. Again, I'm really looking forward to continuing that same morning routine next school year. It's just, you know, we do our chores, and you know, breakfast cleanup happens as a family, and then we sit down with our clipboards, and they have some independent work on their clipboards, and while they're doing that independent work, I'm getting some stuff put away, and it kind of flows right, and it starts us off on the right foot. Nobody's feeling rushed, but it's not too slow of a start. It was a very good balance for our family. So those are the three things that I'm very pleased with, how the school year went. And looking forward to next year, I would like to implement a better approach to nature study and more read-alouds in our homeschool. We didn't get as many read-alouds completed as I would have liked to, but I think we're also, this summer, we're kind of hitting our stride with that as well. We started the Little House series, and they're loving it. So anyway, oh yeah, well, I'll throw in too, because this is already just a random chit chat, I guess. This was not as structured as I intended for it to be, but the baby and all that, so I need to get this video up. We did implement poetry tea time about halfway through the school year, and that was not something that I even knew about at the beginning of our school year. So I really do enjoy poetry tea time, and that's something that I'm looking forward to adding in on a normal schedule next school year. So there's that. Anyway, I cannot wait to hear what you guys what you're going to name as like your 3 successes for the school year. I think it's so important for us to recognize our successes outside of the books. So please take some time to consider it, leave it in the comments below, and I think it will encourage us all to see, you know, what everyone considers to be success, because it doesn't always look like what we think it looks like. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all later. Bye.